So at least 40% of women from once your period starts to menopause have fibroids. Again, most of us don't even know it. They can range in sizes. So a fibroid itself is just basically it's a tumor or a growth that's growing in the muscle of the uterus. And it's called a leiomyoma. Myoma means, or myo, means muscle. So it's growing in the muscle. And it can grow in different parts of the uterus. It can obviously be different sizes. They can be very, very large or very, very tiny and minuscule, and you can have multiple of different kinds as well. So that's what they are. We still don't know exactly why they happen. So they're, still trying to figure out exactly why they grow. However, we do know that they are very sensitive to estrogen. So there's a big component of estrogen and estrogen balancing when it comes to treating fibroids. So today I want to talk about my top tips for dealing with fibroids, knowing what we do about the estrogen component. So my first tip is to actually eat your estrogens, which sounds weird because we just said that's, too much estrogen. But actually I'm talking about phytoestrogens, and phytoestrogens are plant-based estrogens. So they're things like lentils, so a lot of legumes, lentils, kidney beans, chickpeas, even sesame seeds, flax, and tofu are all good plant sources of estrogens, but they help to balance the estrogen levels. So they don't raise your estrogen levels if they're already high. They help to kind of balance it out. So phytoestrogens are really good to incorporate into your daily diet. And again, just pick a couple off the list. You don't need to eat all of them all of the time. So again, eating your plant-based estrogens is helpful to balance out those estrogen issues. Number two, and side note, for tofu, it tends to be very full of pesticides and GMOs, so definitely get organic if you're gonna go that route. So my second tip is using castor oil packs, but your liver is what is supposed to be clearing the extra estrogens out of your body. So if your liver is sluggish because it's not you're eating too much crappy food, too much alcohol and caffeine, all the toxins we're exposed to in the environment, your liver has to clear all that. And it also has to help clear out the estrogens and the extra hormones. So if it's already working on overload from all those things, it's going to have to, take a break with, diet and other stuff. But castor oil packs are a great way to help support your liver and your liver's health. So it really doesn't take too much time, and it's pretty relaxing treatment for most of my patients that do it. Number three tip, my third tip, is to slow the flow. So one of the major side effects or issues with fibroids is that they can cause really heavy bleeding. So they increase the surface area of basically the tissue in the uterus. So you're getting a lot more blood released each period. That becomes problematic because it can cause cramping, and then you can possibly become anemic, which has its own issues like feeling really tired or even anxiety if the anemia is bad enough. So one of my favorite herbs to help kind of slow the flow of the period blood is called Capsella bursipastoris, also known as shepherd's purse commonly. It's called a styptic, so it just helps to slow the blood, and it's also very drying herb, very what we call astringent, so it helps kind of dry out that tissue and helps slow the flow of blood. So I've had some women having a 17-day period and using Capsella or shepherd's purse and it helping to stop or really slow that flow, or a 10-day period now down to a more reasonable time. With shepherd's purse, it is more drop dosing, so like 10 to 20 drops. So don't be taking, a half teaspoon or a kind of a more normal herb amount. So again, that's, it's more of a Band-Aid, but sometimes you need a Band-Aid in a natural form. And then the last tip is to support estrogen. So since we know that progesterone, so supports progesterone, since we know that estrogen is going to be high and the fibroids tend to accumulate and have more estrogen receptors. Helping to balance that estrogen with more progesterone is really important because we get these what are called unopposed estrogen or estrogen dominant conditions. We really want to help balance that out. So another herb is called Vitex, Agnus castus. So that is a great herb that helps promote progesterone function. It also helps to lower and deal with menstrual cramps, as well as just reducing and preventing those fibroids from growing. But it's really through helping to balance that progesterone and estrogen ratio. So that can be beneficial. So again, we want to eat more phytoestrogens, so more plant-based estrogens to help balance the fibroids, the estrogen with the fibroids. Castor oil packs to support your liver, clearing those estrogens. Using the Band-Aid of the shepherd's purse if needed to help reduce the amount of blood, and then supporting progesterone with Vitex.